Okay, welcome back to the channel, guys. And this is a review of the Crystal Palace game and the Newcastle game. And we won the Newcastle game 2-1 after that red card. We had red cards in both games, so there was a numerical advantage in both games. But for some reason, we weren't able to win both of them. And you could say that it's not easy playing against them, and I still don't understand why it's not easy to play against them, and it's supposed to be a lot easier for you. Except you are lacking in quality. Maybe you're lower side playing against a bigger team, and the bigger team has a red card. It's still going to be a little difficult for you because you're still lacking in terms of quality. But then for a big side playing against a smaller side, I mean Newcastle are not a small side, but still you could tell that the quality was kind of the same on that day, and Newcastle go down to 10 men, and we still haven't been able to win. It's happened twice this season: the Everton game and the Newcastle game. I still don't understand why it's difficult. But let's start with the Crystal Palace game. Early goal from Lacroix. Euro has to do better with that defending. The way Lacroix was just easily able to just outsmart him there was just, it was poor. Euro has to do better. I mean, in recent games, he's been a lot better than last season or earlier this season. He's getting better. He's improving, but there's still a lot more to his game that he has to improve. He doesn't have the strength. He lacks when it comes to speed, and I'm not comfortable with having two slow center backs because Maguire is not the fastest center back out there. Euro also isn't very fast for someone who's very young. He hasn't got the legs. You could tell that his tackling can be a little better, but that seems to be his strength at the moment. He relies a lot on his tackling, and sometimes it doesn't work out because you're playing against very fast attackers in the Premier League. But he's done well. I mean, he was able to keep a clean sheet in the Everton game. Most of the credit could go to Lamers, but I think he did a good job as well. Crystal Palace only let one go in, red card. And then in the Newcastle game, I think, we did all right. We were under a lot of pressure very, very early in the match. It's almost like Newcastle came into that game trying to make a point. And they did. Even going down to 10 men, they were still attacking. And it was just poor. So we considered early goal in the Crystal Palace game, and then we still trying to create something. You could tell that there is something wrong with the way we attack at the moment. And I don't want to pin all that to Sesko coming back into the starting lineup, but you could tell that the chemistry has shifted a little bit. We're struggling now. We've been struggling for a while now. We were always going to lose games, and it's been coming since the Fulham game. We needed a late winner from Sesko to win that game. We went on to West Ham, we drew that one. Tottenham, red card, still struggled with great chances. The Everton game, 1-0 counter attack, and now today Crystal Palace red card, and now Crystal Palace Newcastle. We had to lose somewhere, but I knew we were going to lose a game of football, but it's just poor that we had to lose a game of football against 10 men very early in the game. It's hard now. It's gotten to a point where Manchester United gets a numerical advantage. The opponent gets a red card, and you're still not confident. It's poor for a club of this size. You're expecting that if your opponent goes down to 10 men, you should be able to capitalize on that. But never in the case of Manchester United. And like I said, there's something wrong with our attack at the moment. Kowa is not a quiet player. He's been forced to play there. And you could tell that in recent games, he's been trying to adapt, play a lot more wider because he loves to be central, but he's been trying to go wider. And I don't know, it's been affecting our game a little bit. I think Carrick just needs to go back to basics because you could tell in both the Crystal Palace game and the Newcastle game, Mbeumo struggled out wide, which is crazy because he was both as a winger, but he's been struggling. He's having difficulty trying to beat his own men. To beat his fullback. He's almost, I think his strength is making runs, which for a fast player like Mbeumo, All he wants is that true ball, that one time ball into space, so you could chase it. You could see how he chased that ball that Konga played into him in the Everton game. So for now, I don't see him as a winger, and you can tell in the last two games we've been missing a Amad Diallo profile on that right wing. And I think that we're always going to lose a game of football. It's poor that we lost against Newcastle, but he was still in a very good position, just like Carrick said in the post-match interview after that game. Was still in a very good position. All we need to do now is go back to the basics. Ahmad should be brought straight back into the lineup. We've tried this, it didn't work, right? Ahmad come back into start lineup. Mbeumo should, I don't know. You could go with Sesko, but Ahmad should be down on that wing because we can't have two wingers who are not comfortable dribbling or trying to beat the man. Even Kohan was trying. He was the only player playing against Newcastle, right? He was trying to beat the man and create some chances, but still, he's not. He doesn't have that pace. He doesn't have that quick feet. He relies more on his strength to beat players. So we can't have two wingers who are not comfortable beating players. So Ahmad needs to come straight back into the lineup. You could go with Sesko, you could go to Mbeumo. I really don't mind, but we've seen that Sesko tend to do better when he's coming off the bench. So Mbeumo will be a right fit. And then Kona. It's simple as that. So like I said, it was poor. We were able to win the Crystal Palace game, but all of that thing that we've been escaping in all our previous games showed in the Newcastle game. Going down to 10 men, they still had more energy in their hours. They still had more intention. There was more intensity. They defended well. And I'm not going to take it away from the team because Bruno created a lot of chances for us to win that game. The Euro header, the Ogate header, the chances that were just missed by Mbeumo. I don't understand what's going through Mbeumo's head, but he's been having really, really poor games. He needs to do better with his finishing and his decision making. He's been poor. Maybe it would help him if he was to sit on the bench for a little bit because he's been our main man for the whole of the season. He hasn't been able to sit out any game. He started all the games aside from that loss we had in aside from the loss in Grimsby. Mbeumo has been the first name on the starting lineup in all our games, Premier League games this season. So maybe it might help him mentally to sit it out, just sit it out a little bit, sit on the bench for a little bit, because his performances has not been encouraging. It hasn't been good, and I can't say the same for Sesko because that's always the fear of changing something that's already been working. Sesko has been an incredible super sub for United, and I think he's still learning to become a starter. But anyways, it's we lost to Newcastle. It's not something I was seeing a lot of the posts from United fans. I think it was too reactionary, but we were reacting to this loss very, 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 very bad. We have to be patient. We still are in third position. We play Aston Villa in the next 10 days. And I'm very, very positive we can win Aston Villa if we play well. If we play well, we can beat Aston Villa. We saw how we dominated them in the first leg, even though we considered two very, very poor goals and we lost the match. We were the better side. And Aston Villa are losing a lot of key players at the moment, so we have to go there and win. We have that is a match that we cannot afford to lose. We can't afford to lose against Aston Villa. So all the players have to be on the A game. We are having a little bit of defensive issues. Shaw is struggling with a little bit of injury. Majari had to be put out of the game for injury, and it's scary because defense is the last position where we want to have any injury issues at the moment. But hopefully they can all be recovered for the game against Aston Villa because it's 11 days, so that's a long time to recover. And hopefully there isn't any serious issues for Masraoui. You can see that we cannot rely on Malachi at the moment. The guy hasn't played football in a long time, so he's just not a player that you want to put in your starting lineup at the moment. You can see how poor he defended for the goal, the Newcastle second goal. Well, anyways, like I said, it's not time for us to panic. We're still in a very, very, very good position. We can go on to win against Aston Villa and recover our form. Uh, Only once we've lost. This is the first time we're losing in 2026. Carrick first loss as a manager. Like there's still a lot to be positive for. There's still a lot to be positive for. I know a lot of this Amorim sexual bisexuals and people who love Amorim. They're coming out with all that notion, talking about how we played better brand of football under Amorim. Look, I'm not going to argue with that. But your brand of football, how good you were playing doesn't matter. What matters is the results. And Carrick has been able to do that with a short amount of time he's been here as a manager. So I'm not having any of that Amorim thing. He's gone. You guys should get over him, right? All I need, all I want to say, all I think this squad needs, if we're able to get into the Champions League places next season, we have to reinforce our midfield. I think getting about two midfielders is not going to cut this. We have to get about 3 or 4. We have to have midfielders. A lot of we have to have legs in midfield so that games like this where we're down to, the opposition is down to 10 men, we can have control. Even they don't have to be down to 10 men for us to have control. Or you can see that Casemiro and Mino isn't the best people you want to have on the ball. Cassie likes to play the one-time passes. He's not very, very good at being the press. So we are having problems in midfield at the moment. And I think that's one of the reasons why we haven't been able to win games where, the opposition is down to 10 men. All it comes down to is your midfield. Can you have control of the ball? And that is something that Lisandro Martinez was able to help us with when he was still playing, because he was able to have the ball at the back and dictate tempo. He was almost like doing two jobs at the same time, playing as a midfielder and playing as a defender. That's what Lisandro Martinez brings to this team. But since his absence, you can see, we've been struggling in that department. We can't control games the way we want to. But 9 games or 10 games to the end of the season, I still think we can qualify for the Champions League spot. Maybe not in third position. Maybe we might go back to fourth. I don't know, but I still think this team can do it. We have to believe in ourselves and get over the finish line. Yeah, that's it. That's that for that. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.